Hey everyone, your designers are here.
I'm Anita at Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly at My Soulful Home.
We have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you today, so let's get started.
This is episode 178, How to Downsize in Style. And the show notes for today can be found at decoratingtipsandtricks.com/178.
Downsizing with style.
All right. Well, I like the idea of starting outdoors or when you go in. And when we're talking about downsizing, it seems like sometimes people end up going with smaller homes that maybe don't have all the grand style of their bigger home before. So I think it's nice to add some details as you, in the entry, it'd be, curbside as you look at the house, kind of in front, like all the things that Yvonne talks about, a beautiful mat, wreath, you're painting your door, pretty color, some pots of beautiful plants on your front porch. So I think that's a nice way to add some interest to perhaps a smaller house that doesn't have all the architectural detail that maybe your bigger house had before.
Well, hey, you know what I have always thought and pretty much lived until this last house is I would rather have a smaller size house with absolutely beautiful materials and authentic stonework and woodwork and beautiful moldings than a big giant McMansion that I'm banging around with cruddy windows and, tiny molding. Like I would rather go small or smaller and have it really be top notch. And I think that's what you can do when you downsize. And, if people think downsizing, they think about empty nesters or something like that. But so many people are downsizing nowadays, not only for financial reasons, but also for that feeling of coziness and just that feeling of waste when you have rooms that you never go into, and like, what's the point of having a living room you go in twice a year? So I think that downsizing isn't just for people at certain stages in their lives now. I think it's for everybody.
I agree with you, Kelly. I also think it's fiscally wise as well. People want to spend their money on other things, not on the mortgage of their house. And we see that more and more these days. And how smart is that? I think downsizing gives you a chance to sort of start over again. And whether it's a new build or a new to you build, I think that, you can look at your house and start dreaming again of how you want to make it yours and how you want to put your own stamp on it. And I don't think you should throw the baby out with the bathwater, like take everything in your house and give it away or donate it or sell it at auction or whatever your choices are and start over. You certainly want to bring a lot of the things you love from the house you have now into the house you're going to downsize into.
Well, on that, I would say it really depends on the person. I think sometimes people want to throw everything out and start over. But if that's not what you want to do, then I certainly wouldn't suggest it. I mean, I think you're right. If you want to keep many of your things, then please do.
Well, I think that you should make a list of the things that you love. I mean, because there's certainly things in my house that I love that I wouldn't want to be without in another home because they sort of, they put a personal stamp on my home. And it could be something as small as pictures, and a special chair or antiques that have been in your family, all kinds of things. So just make a list of what you love and then look at your house and see, here's the great thing about downsizing. You can literally take those rooms, draw them out on a piece of paper to scale and draw your pieces of furniture out to scale and see what will fit where. And that's just one of the biggest tips. So you want to take those beautiful pieces and find places for them in your home. And you can be really creative. Like if you have a lovely dresser, you could make that into a bar if that's something, if you entertain a lot.
That's a great idea. Yeah, no, repurposing, taking the vanities and making them like dressers and making them into bathroom vanities and things like that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it adds such a personal touch, and then you're able to use these items rather than giving them away or, finding some storage unit somewhere to be stashing them away.
Well,
Oh,
this isn't
don't
really
use
a
this.
down.
I was going
This
to
isn't
just
really
talk.
a downsizing thing, but when we're going to be selling the farm when we retire and then moving to the mountains, probably have to keep a little place in Houston, but for part of the year. But I'm seriously thinking, do I take everything from the farm and bring it to the mountains, or do I just sell it? I may just sell it and start over. That's what. So I'm
That's
not sure.
certainly an option.
Rather than moving it, because it's a long way.
The other thing that I think we need to really think about is think about how you live now, or think about how you want to live in that house. Like when I'm thinking about downsizing, obviously that would be from Stone Gable to, probably a smaller home with a little more of a pretty open, but a smaller home. And
Pebble Gable.
That's funny.
Oh, I may just have to keep that. I mean, my ideal would be to find a place in Lancaster County on the water. I don't know that there's much water, like a pond or a lake or something, and have something small. But I don't want to be a slave to my house. I want to be out.
Oh, yes. I'm cheering. Yes.
I want to be outside more and going more. So I think if I would have a new build, if we could build something, I would probably want to build something with like a screened-in porch that has a fireplace in it.
Oh, nice.
Because I want to spend more time. I mean, I spend a lot of time outside, but we don't have anything screened in. In the summer, if we're in this area, we fight with mosquitoes and things like that. So think about how you want to live. Do you want to travel? If you want to travel, why on earth do you want to have, a big home? Or do you entertain? Do you need a big space for entertaining? Or do you still have lots of family that come? So you may need a few extra guest rooms.
Right. And I wanted to mention this too, and that is getting rid of furniture, because if you are downsizing, obviously you're going to need fewer pieces of furniture. But I think people tend to keep on a hold of too much. So they may say, okay, I need to get rid of a couple things. But I think in general, people don't get rid of enough furniture because it's so easy for a small room to feel over full of furniture. So I think I would definitely err on getting rid of more than less. And if you have to keep a few pieces in the garage or in storage while you're deciding, because I know it's hard for some of us to let go, not mentioning any names here. But, just try it. Just don't bring it in just yet. Try it, just leave a few pieces in the garage while you're thinking, because, I think you're going to find that the room just does better with a whole lot less.
That's one of the things I have written down here. Edit your furniture. I think about, your new life is light and airy with lots of space for living, not necessarily filled with furniture and like laden down.
Right. I mean, I think you're going to need some empty spaces. And I mean, obviously you're going to have to get rid of furniture, but I think take a real hard look at it. Be a little brutal.
And we're talking about furniture, but also you may not need 15 mixing bowls,
Right.
Or you may not need that waffle iron that you used when you had your 5 kids at home. Do you know what I'm saying? I have a waffle iron. I haven't used it in years. Now, I used to make breakfast for my family when they were school age. Well, they're all gone. Now I have grandbabies, tiny grandbabies coming back.
I wouldn't get rid of it just yet, because Kelly and I might want some waffles.
Oh, there you go. But we don't eat like that anymore.
Right. Yeah. No, so much of it. And really have to think about if you are in a phase in your life, no matter how old you are or how old your kids are or whether you have kids or not, and you're thinking about downsizing or you're actively in the pursuit of downsizing, whether it's looking for a new place or thinking about building a place, this is not a situation where you're going to take everything you have and then stuff it into just a smaller piece of square footage. This is an opportunity to really change things up and really have a fresh start. And why would you want to start something new like that is going to just be having all this other baggage from your other chapter, just
Right.
dragging
Yes.
it around with
Right.
you and walking around it and banging your foot into it and all of that. Anita had mentioned, just maybe just getting rid of it all. I'm going, that might feel really good. I have a client who's done that, and she moved from her family's home where she raised her kids, and she was now in a beautiful apartment, and she wanted a completely different look. She had a craftsman-y house, and everything was sort of craftsman-y and woody and dark and all of that. And then we did this whole sort of very light boho creams with pops of navies and turquoise. It was absolutely beautiful. And honestly, I mean, she was a little bit like, I would hold on to one side of something and be like, okay, come on. And then she would pull it back a little and I'd pull it again. A few times it was like a literal pull and tug. I was like, we can take, and then exactly what you said, Anita, I was like, we can put it in the storage unit for a little bit.
For a little
and then
while.
If you think you want it, you can go down and get it. But she hasn't brought anything back. It looks absolutely stunning. She feels so great and refreshed. Every time I see her, she's like giving me a hug, high-fiving.
Oh.
We did this. She's like, I am unencumbered. She comes and goes. She goes out to dinner all the time. She has people over on her little balcony. She says everything. She has just enough of everything and not too much of anything.
I love that.
Think about all that stuff that's inherited or somebody gave you that you don't really like. I think this is the time and a good excuse to get rid of it if you don't want it. I mean, you just can't have
I
Aunt
mean,
Ellie's
we talk
complete
about
collection of Afghans, So just
Well,
say
let's
one.
talk about getting rid of it. Don't throw it away. There's, you can give it away, you can donate it, but also you can do things that's really popular in this area that when people are downsizing, they have an auction.
Oh,
yeah.
Or you can call an auction house and they will sell it because that's pretty big around here. And even like a higher end auction that if you have some really nice things and you can take the money that you've earned. I mean, you can sell it on eBay. You can sell it on, what is that, like Nextdoor or something like that. And you can take all that money and maybe get yourself a couple of really nice pieces for your new space.
Here's another idea. If you have limited space in your house, sometimes you don't really have room for doors to be swinging open. And I know in the mountains, we just replaced the washing machine, and the new ones are bigger than the old ones. So once we replaced the dryer, So when we replace the washing machine, we'll no longer be able to open the door to the laundry room. So I'm going to probably just put a curtain in there, or I would love to do a pocket door.
Pocket door if you have the wall.
But if you don't, but let's say you don't have room for a pocket door, you might be able to. Now in this space, we're obviously not going to be able to do the barn doors, but the hanging doors, I think, are a great solution, just like pocket doors. If you don't have room for doors to swing in and out, that's really a great solution.
That is a great solution.
The other thing that happens with those doors is that if you do them, between rooms or even closing off portions of a room, you can actually, either hide something that you might want to hide if you have guests coming over and just slide them like interior French doors almost, but make them pockets or make them barn doors. And then you can open it all up and it'll feel like a bigger space. But when you need some privacy or you don't want someone to see your desk or your kitchen in a mess, you can just slide it closed. So if you're, we're probably going to start to get into some particulars now as we're going along in the episode about how to actually effectuate small house living. And I think that's one of the greatest ideas is to use these internal doors.
I think another thing for smaller house downsize living, especially if this is a new build or if you have a new to you home and you're going to have some construction done on it, definitely think about storage. That you want enough storage because, you may be downsizing, but I think people still have a lot of stuff, and make sure that you have great storage places. If you have a little bit of a lawn or a yard, make sure you have enough storage in a garage. If you have a garage, or if you don't, especially if you don't have a basement, you need to come up with creative storage storage areas to put things.
Another idea I have is it doesn't really add space, but it's visually pleasing. And that is, if you have stained cabinets, there's certainly nothing wrong with stained cabinets, but my suggestion is if you have a small space that you paint them, because I feel like the painted cabinets work better in a small space.
Would you paint them to maybe coordinate with your wall color so they sort of blend together?
Well, I think you could. I wouldn't necessarily, depending on what they look like, but I certainly would go with a neutral on the cabinets, just so you're not locked into a color, because it's such a hassle painting them, or if you pay someone, it's so expensive. But the thing that's really charming that I love, if you want color in there, is to paint the island a different color.
I love that too. I love that.
Or a table, or if you have a table in your kitchen, you can paint it a color. I love adding some color in there, but in a non-permanent way, so you can change it out.
Yeah, I think I like your idea about not having stained cabinets. I would go even further. You may not want to even have upper cabinets if you can get away with it, because you might be able to either have some windows there, or just the feeling of openness that you would get that, the square footage is not going to be necessarily giving you. So you can sort of create a feeling of more openness. And I think I would go with what Yvonne was suggesting there, or intimating, is that I would probably go with the wall color or close there too, for if you were going to have upper cabinets.
It makes them just sort of disappear.
Yeah,
it does. It does.
Yeah, I'd go close for sure.
I love the idea of having no upper cabinets in a small space, but here's the caveat. Then I would make sure the space is big enough to hold an island, and I would put drawers and cabinets in there that I could store things.
Yeah.
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
I am recording from our mountain house this week. This is an open space, but the kitchen's really tiny, and we'll redo it before we move in. But we've had the same issue. The kitchen is not big, and I really wanted to rip out the upper cabinets. But to be honest, I'm going to be losing so much storage. I've decided to keep upper cabinets. However, I'll be taking out what's here and then going up to the ceiling with something. Because see, actually in the living area, it's cathedral ceiling, but the kitchen has, I think it's 9 or 10 foot ceiling. So I think it's 9 foot. So we'll just rip that out. And so that way I have a little, but I'm going to take off the cabinets on one wall. So I just have them on the back wall. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
I love that idea, but I'm really into it. The smaller the space, I want more windows.
Yeah, there's lots of windows here.
So. Light windows, and I think as I think ahead to a downsize, that is like one of my top 5 things. Just some beautiful big windows or big French doors, things that let in light and let in the scenery around me.
Well, have you seen, they're called a wall of glass, and they're actually, you can do accordion or sliding, but it's basically 2, 4, or 6 panels of glass. That's what I want.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
Yeah, I am well aware.
I was considering, I was considering / dead set on that for the barn here. And I thought, we'll just open that whole thing up. And, again, it was one of those situations where I'm so glad I didn't decide to do that before we were living here, because there were 2 reasons. Not only would it have really damaged the budget and not left room for other important things like food and flights and stuff like that.
How expensive were these that you didn't choose? Is this a number you can share?
Oh yeah, us? Like almost $125,000.
Maybe I won't be getting.
Well, it depends on mine had pretty much they all have to be custom, but the way the barn is, everything had to be custom. There was not going to be anything, off the shelf like that. And because it's a kind of a unique item anyway, I think, it's probably all custom. And then the accordion, the way they have to build in the tracks. And I had, I would have had to have, it all been.
Who can afford that?
Fitted
that is
for it.
So expensive.
But it's so fabulous.
That would be the rebuild for our first floor master.
Yeah.
Master.
I was hoping
but guess what I ended up getting?
Retirement.
So, that's it, right? You can't retire now into you can't downsize because you don't have any money.
You buy a
but you have these great
buy the doors.
Well, here's the thing. I really thought and then when I realized, what they were going to cost. And of course I wanted them in the metal factory to match the kitchen doors.
Of course.
So that would be, so that was really the crazy part too. But, I think the room wouldn't have functioned as well because, it would have had that that California inside out feel and flowing. But if somebody was in there and they were trying to watch a movie, which my girls do all the time, or dare I say, having a teen get together, they're in a fishbowl, which would have probably been good.
Yes.
Been okay with me with my binoculars.
But see, we've got the view of the mountains, and so it's what
that would be beautiful.
I really want to.
Oh, but Anita, mine is so long. The barn is 32 feet long. So
mine's not that big a space.
Yeah. So if you're talking about 6 feet,
I would just do 2. It would just be 4 doors here.
I would
2 panels.
Yeah. I would look into it. No, mine was a ridiculous number of panels. But you asked about my particular situation. That was fun. But anyway, I have to tell you because I always want to tell you guys the deals I get. So anyway, I didn't do that. And then I had the door guy come and we talked all about it and all the options. And he's like, you've been a good client with the windows and stuff. I have this Marvin door and they ordered it in the wrong color and it's just sitting in the warehouse. How about I give it to you for cost? And then you just pay to have it installed.
Bam! And you said sold.
And I said sold. Oh, okay. So so I got the whole shebang in for $2,500.
Well, we were thinking, I still want to do this in my house, but by, now it's sort of like, am I going to get that out of the house when we sell it. I want double French doors in our family room with, transoms in the top and all around. And that was about a $12,000 deal.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Well,
No,
12,000.
Oh, they are.
100,000.
However,
those are two different numbers.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah.
But if you are thinking to downsize, you're not going to be buying square footage
Right.
or other things that you might want to have, maybe not the $100,000 doors, but maybe you want to spend $8,000 to $10,000
Right. Because
on
that
something
might
that
be
would
your
make
wow.
your whole
Right.
house. Exactly.
Well, that's how I felt about the kitchen doors. Like that was those factory doors. I was going to get those. And if I had to, not get new shoes for 10 years or if I had to go get a paper route or something, I was going to get those. Darn it.
You had to be a dog walker.
Yeah, I like dogs now.
That's why I said that.
Yeah, but they really have. So I totally agree with myself from what I said at the beginning that I think
Pat
if
yourself
you
on the back.
let me just underline how great
you go.
that tip was. Now, if you're going small, even a better reason to use really fabulous materials and really do it right, because when you're in a smaller space, everything is going to be a lot more noticeable and you're going to be interfacing. You like that word, interfacing, with your stuff a lot more. You're going to be in each one of those rooms almost every single day for a significant period of time. It's not like the living room that you're like, hey, is it Christmas? Let's go in the living room. So you want each room and each area to really make you happy.
And work hard for you.
Yeah. And work hard for you too. You're absolutely right. So speaking of those no formal living rooms and stuff, if you're thinking about purchasing a smaller house, and a lot of more traditional older homes are going to have the separate living room and the separate dining room and all of that. Or you may be in a situation where you have the opportunity to build your own home or reconfigure. I would suggest that you really think about long and hard, like, do you need that extra formal room? And if you don't, and it's there, well, what can you make it into that would be a functioning room or a multi-purpose room?
Or can you knock down that wall and make two rooms into one?
And put these great French doors in that we're chatting about.
Yes. I have something that's, are you done, Kelly?
Well,
Sorry.
if you had just make it a single comfortable family area, if you can do that. And maybe you can make it into sections then where there's an area for the TV watching, and then maybe you have another conversational area down on the other side or something like that. You can definitely, I think today, the way people live, most people don't need a formal living room.
I agree with you. And I have one.
Yeah, I think just one living room, living area is nice.
I'm going to this is extremely practical. If you are downsizing and it's going to be a new build, think about having things handicap accessible. Now, especially, if you're downsizing and retiring, but even if you're not, I think it gives value to your home. When we had our house built, we had all of our doors widened so they could be wheelchair accessible.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
No, or I didn't either. Our builder just said, let's make these all wheelchair accessible. And I said, fine. And guess what? With my foot, I had to be in a wheelchair for a while.
Right.
So
That's
I could
very
get
smart.
through all my doors. And, I just think there's a lot of things like, make sure
your builder was very smart. I still remember the idea that you have a plug on your mantle.
Yes, he was very smart about things.
Yeah, mine asked me if I wanted one too. I don't know. I don't put stuff on my mantle, so I didn't need it. But.
Also, a first floor bedroom and a first floor bathroom. Those are really important things to
and that's
think
what
about.
we did in case my mother ever had to come live with us. And we also, because I had done a bunch of research before we built, and that is something that I chose to do, is to go with the wider doors for exactly the same reason of what you're saying, Yvonne, in case, my mother was ever in a wheelchair and she was living with us. And that's why we have a full bath downstairs, although, it's really, we just use it as a powder room. But I think that's an excellent idea.
And let me tell you, it's great because every piece of furniture we've ever had, and we've had some big pieces, they can go through all of our doors.
Oh, right. I mean, that's practical. That's a reason enough to do it. I can't tell me, Thomas, I've held my breath to see whether something's going to come out.
Yes, we know the story of how your one piece in the kitchen fit just
just right after a little tweak.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants.
Another thing that we can do, the other thing I've been looking at are these bunk beds, because we were thinking about those for the mountains. I didn't end up using them because I couldn't find any that I really liked, but I've been looking lately, and oh my goodness, have you seen those bunk beds on Restoration Hardware?
No.
They
have Restoration Hardware.
Well, I know, but and we're not getting paid by them. They're not our sponsor, but go check them out. We'll have a link.
But if you're listening, RH,
yeah, if you're listening,
I'm available.
Yeah, but they have some of the most beautiful bunk beds I've ever seen.
Whoa, in a Gustavian finish.
They have some that are Gustavian or French or kind of more
when you have
rustic.
Small Swedish children coming to visit.
They're really some. Now I wish I had gotten some because they're so beautiful. Now it's not cheap, but they're really just the best looking.
I'm gonna have to look.
I'm serious. You're gonna like them. There's so many, and there's one that looks like a little tree house.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Okay, so speaking of, one other thing I wanted to mention is, no matter where you live in the country, at some point during the year, you're going to want to go outside. I know some people, unfortunately, can't go outside or don't want to be outside when it's, inclement weather. But if you have a smaller space and you have a little patio, make the backyard some place that it's a destination for you, that you have comfortable furnishings out there, even if you have to take the pillows in, during the winter time or something like that. And perhaps a little shed, or if you're a gardener, a little tiny greenhouse, just like another place that you can go that, you're getting out of your main house. And so it will make your whole property feel like it's living a lot larger Just like when you create a garden space, even if it's a small space, when you create the illusion of separate rooms by using arches, or even just the fact that you have a bistro table far on the side and then you have a little potting table over here, when it feels like there are other destinations to visit, it ends up feeling like there's more space than there actually is.
Oh, I love that idea of adding an outdoor living space. And I think that's really one of the best
and it doesn't
ideas.
even have to, a living space would be so great. And like what Yvonne was saying earlier with the screened-in porch and all that, I think that's fabulous. And people could end up using that 12 months out of the year. But even if it's just a little table and 2 chairs out, where maybe sometimes you go take your coffee or you take your computer or something, it's just feeling like you're going to a different place, even if you're just living in you're now downsized or smaller proper square footage.
Throw a little pea gravel down and put your bistro.
Bam!
Yeah.
And you're in France then too.
Yeah, oui. So, well, and we've been talking about getting rid of things. I think that you really, the best tip is get rid of stuff if you're downsizing, because you're right.
Call me first.
Probably have what?
Call
me first. I have some room in the orphanage.
The reality is you probably have more cooking pans than you need, more blankets, more sheets. They're just things that you accumulate over time. So, the first tip I would suggest is just to get rid of all those extra things. But once you have downsized to just what you're going to need for your home, what I would suggest is using baskets to organize things, because you probably don't have as much storage furniture or as much room to store things in your home. So I would suggest baskets under your sofa, perhaps. If you have leggy sofas, you could put, some baskets under there. You can put baskets on top of armoires, on top of chests. And that's just some nice ways to store things. Or if you have a side table, rather than getting a table that is just a table, get something maybe that has some storage underneath it, that's got some drawers or, some way to store some other things in there. So I think you want some dual purpose furniture.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
and Anita, as you were talking about get rid of things, I would say edit your things and find homes for your things well in advance. Don't wait to the last minute, because you will not make good choices, and you'll probably be very sorry you either got rid of something or didn't get rid of something.
Oh, and then it's there with you. I did that, when I moved here, how many years? 15 years ago, 12 years, something like that. I don't know.
You mean
14 years ago.
From the East Coast to the West Coast.
From New York. And I didn't want to come to California. And so I was taking, if I could have pulled my house up out of the ground, I would have dragged it with me. I brought everything. And that's so not like me. I am such a purger. And I like to keep, moving things in. I think comes in, but I like to move things back out too. I brought rolls of wrapping paper. I didn't even like the paper. I just bought rolls.
Well, you'd already bought it.
Long rolls
East
of
Coast rolls.
Used, but it was more that I didn't want to let go. Like I realized later on as I was going through. So after 6 months or 8 months went by, and I was like, hey, the sun's out all the time. I love it here. I'm saying, why do I have all this wrapping paper? And it's all crinkly now. But I realized, like, I just instead of taking the time then, because I was not in the right mental place. I just was like, I'm taking it all with me because I'm coming back and I'm going to bring it all back with me. So if you're in a situation where you're going to downsize, it maybe even you're like not even 100% sure that you want to downsize, but you got to downsize, or your spouse or significant other wants to downsize. Take the time, like Yvonne is saying, and really analyze what you've got. You can always buy more wrapping paper. There's my tip.
Right. And do you really look at this stuff and say, is this worth paying a mover to move to my new house? That's
very good.
I think Peter might have said that. Yeah.
There's probably some junk
I was like, yes.
Words to things you have no idea what they're to.
Yeah.
Things where it's kind of broken. The closet with all the broken stuff, just move, put it to the curb.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I hadn't brought all my half-made crafts here from my other house.
Oh,
now it just makes you feel guilty.
I'm not as crafty anymore just because I don't have as much time, and the kids aren't so little. And I had so many crafty things that were also sort of Girl Scout related that I wasn't ever going to make for my house. And I've been going through these on the weekends being like, oh, more green felt. Great. How much green felt does someone need? Let me tell you, guys, and a lot of you or some of you may have seen this person's home before. Lynn and JR are a couple, and Lynn is a listener to us, and I'm sure JR gets us, too. He's probably overhearing us. I'm not sure if he's listening, but Lynn is a listener of Decorating Tips and Tricks and a reader of our blogs. And several months ago, she had emailed us and let us know that they were downsizing from their sizable family home to 900 square feet and wanted to share that with us and send some photos. Well, I was so blown away by the style and the functionality that this woman and man packed into 900 square feet that I did a blog post on them. And so I will put the link to that blog post in the show notes, and you can see they're absolutely
it's adorable,
beautiful cottage with comfort, style, beauty, and as they say, freedom from house maintenance, freedom from big bills, all that kind of stuff. And Lynn and JR also run a business called L&J Goods, and I'll put a link to their shop. They have all kinds of beautiful furniture, and they paint furniture, and they have wonderful finds. Lynn has quite an eye, so you're going to really enjoy it. And as we were getting ready for this episode, she had just sent me an update because I said, please keep me posted as you complete rooms. And they just did their guest room. And let me tell you, I'm going to go there because I want to sleep in that room. It's so fabulous. So I hope everybody takes a moment to pop over and take a look, because you are going to be blown away as to what can happen in 900 square feet. And the befores and afters are phenomenal. So do take an opportunity and head over, and we'll put the link in the show notes. So, whoa, we've been talking, and we downsized in square footage and up the style quotient quite a lot today. And we also talked for 37 minutes and 40 seconds. So it's time to tell you, remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Hey, everybody, we want to thank you so much for listening to Decorating Tips and Tricks. And we want to make it even easier for you to listen. And it's easier if you subscribe. You just click the subscribe button on our website, www.decoratingtipsandtricks.com, or you can subscribe through Apple Podcast or any of your favorite podcast listeners. When you subscribe, DTT comes free right to you 3 days a week. So until next time.